Welcome to our topic this time around on end user information technology applications. The real power of information technology can be seen in end user applications and the developmental stages that they go through to create this type of system that makes possible for people to do collaboration and to work together as teams in large organizations and also at locations that are not, say, nearby, but at long distances too. It was soon discovered that these corroborative efforts needed to be more seamless and more connected so that people didn't have to travel as much. They didn't have to stop what they were doing and then go to another office and try to get something solved or completed and then go back and start over or start where they left off again. And it just these interruptions created demands on people's time that were taking away from real uh, work tasks so that they can complete a project, so they can get through it. And it's time consuming, it's costly, and it often required different skill sets to move between, say, offices and groups of people who were doing different parts of a project rather than a person concentrating and focusing on what they had been asked to do or what piece of it they were responsible for. So this is why end user computing and end user applications have become so important to businesses and how they achieve a lot of what they do today. Most organizations just can't keep up with the information demands of their end users. They have to have ways in which they can work together and work as teams and have access to resources that are not just nearby but often at long distances and at other parts of the world. Now this of course has led to great productivity and led to some real milestones in what we are able to accomplish today. For example, consider end users having office automation systems, okay, which is one of the sections in subsections in which we're talking about here. Uh, there's a lot of routine tasks in a lot of businesses, a lot of things that are done over and over again, and they're done the same way over and over again. So what if you could automate that? What if you could put it together in a way that the accounting department or the finance department or the sales and marketing department or the manufacturing department that has the same kind of tasks that have to be done on a day-to-day basis or week-to-week, month-to-month, and you have it automated. Now that could really streamline some extra effort, and you could take energies that were devoted there and maybe put them onto other more complicated and difficult tasks to get through. So that's part of the philosophy behind creating this type of automated system that can rely on electronic collaboration and communication networks, text processing, image processing, and other information technologies so that a lot of things can be done in a very quick time frame. You'll see that there's a nice graphic in the material that's been prepared for you. It shows the different office automation systems that are out there today. There are electronic publishing systems, for example, that include word processing, desktop publishing, and copying systems so that you know, you don't have to even worry about getting it sent to a printer or getting it formatted in a certain way. It's all already set up and ready to go, and the information, you just have to fill in the information, so to speak, and it's automatically populated, formatted, and printed in the way that it's been developed to be presented. Then you got electronic communication systems with, of course, email, voicemail, facsimile, and of course desktop video conferencing, which is a major thing too, because again, you don't have to get up and leave where you are and go somewhere else. You can stay working right there, and you're collaborating with people in other parts of the country, so that, or maybe just across the street even, and you're just doing it right there at your workstation and making things happen, and you're doing it together too. They can instantaneously see what is taking place and how your involvement has completed this part of it, and how they can respond to that and maybe improve it or ask you to change this part of it or this part of it, and it's right there. So that makes the job much more focused and makes it much more easier to do in some ways. You have electronic collaboration systems, electronic meeting systems. Well, one of the most popular is GoToMeeting, but this is developing by leaps and bounds as we speak, because they have all kinds of technologies that are going to come out with entire tables, conference tables, that are going to become interactive conferencing devices, where you'll be able to look at all that they've done on the top of your, you know, in your table in front of you, or on large screens on the walls and around the conference room. And it can even have a 3D look to it, as you're able to project it off of the wall onto the table. And these systems are being developed right now. There's teleconferencing, telecommuting, which a lot of people working at home too today. So they need to have this kind of electronic collaboration and meeting systems available to them if they're working out of a home office and yet working for a company or a corporation. There's image processing systems, electronic document management, other image processing, presentation graphics, and multimedia systems that are being used. And office management systems, electronic office accessories, electronic scheduling, task management, and even things that may be uh, uh, just proprietary and kept inside, because a lot of the things that go on in an office in some companies are proprietary, and so they keep this in-house, these office management systems, for that reason. But you can see how this can can all be networked and interdependent of each other. So the teams and people who are working together don't have to move around a lot. That's the whole thing. The focus of the energy, the focus of the work, and keeping from having to travel somewhere or take up time, unnecessary time, doing tasks that are routine, or are just going to waste time, so to speak, rather than being focused on the task to be accomplished. So in a way, end-user computing has transformed the workforce. It's just really turned it into a real product-driven and productivity-driven kind of workplace. So here you got the whole thing, and you can look at all the other applications that are involved here too. The mailings of billing, that's a routine task. The bill generation can be, you know, daily, weekly, monthly. It's all set up to be automatic. Accounting tasks, marketing, email, payroll, the checks, and the generation of checks. Lockheed Martin, for example, has a very large defense contractor in the United States, has a location in Lakeland, Florida, where they generate every single check is printed and generated at that location. Every single check, not just payroll, but every single check to suppliers and vendors that they work with in order to keep track of it and make a copy of it and keep a record of it. And it's all done out of this one central office. That's pretty amazing. And that's what I'm talking about. End user systems that and office automation systems in one place. So it can be protected, it's secure, and it's very functional, and they get very, very good at it too, because they do it all in this one place. These meeting systems have to do with groups, particular groups that have to meet together, and even board meetings can be orchestrated and handled in effective ways now, with some board members in some parts of the country, or maybe they're working in an actual position in a company somewhere else, and they're a board member on this company, and they just can't be there for the board meeting, and you have a electronic meeting system that facilitates that. And then, of course, electronic publishing systems. What we see here, just to mention more of something that's public, and that's the ebooks, the electronic publishing systems that we have for the Nook and for the e-readers and the other similar devices like iPads and so forth, where you just read a book on a machine. And that's a form of electronic publishing system, and you're not printing the book out, you're not wasting paper, so to speak, and you're facilitating the reading of material. And it can be any kind of material. It can be material related to employment or consulting, contracting, or some other research and development, like in science, some periodical, any of those kinds of things. And here it is a electronic publishing system involved. And so we've seen a revolution in what we do with people working together, people collaborating, and people being in coffee shops or in home offices or in distant offices across the ocean, and they're able to pool their time, put their time together, and focus their energy on the real task at hand, rather than being preoccupied with, say, mailing the letter, or getting something printed up, or having to get up from the office, from their desk, and go somewhere and take up time doing that. So this is what we've done to transform our workplace. When you start applying this as a foundation of information technology, you see that this is foundational to the success of business, governments, institutions, universities, every kind of aspect of life today. We have these collaborative systems that enable people to pool their energy, pool their time, and keep it very, very focused so that the task at hand can be accomplished. I look forward to your questions and the way in which you may be experiencing this in the workplace and in your own life. This is the best way to relate this to where you are, is to look around you and see how you might be affected by these very things that I'm talking about. In fact, what we're doing with these video lectures, which are helping you to get a grasp of the material in some way that you're reading and studying, and encouraging you to go on to the internet and look for other resources and really read and study these issues and these ideas. You get the feeling that this is just this is really has shifted society and the way in which we live and work with these collaborative systems, these end user um, systems in offices and in our life, and whether we're at the library or whether we're at a coffee shop, it doesn't matter. It's all there to support all of this effort. Well, thanks again for listening, and look forward to talking to you again soon.